iced tea.
Okay, that sounds good.
Ain't had a soda in 10 days.
Oh, that's great. This is just a color copy of what was in your packet.
Hmm.
Hey, John.
Hey,
How's it going?
good, how are you?
Good.
Must be colorblind, I don't see color.
Oh. No, these are black and white. That one has just a little green in the corner. Where's illumination set over here?
There's no moments to do, so precious.
Yeah. Hi, Lori.
Thank you. Actually, you're making me cold. I'm in my boots and.
No, my office
Please.
is hot. I brought my sweatshirt though.
Go ahead.
There.
You go ahead. You guys said that English too? Okay, go ahead.
My office mirror.
Right there. Okay.
Hi, how are you? Well, you must be good. I'm sure you're thinking.
I was not thinking that. Oh, it's too funny. Yeah. Yeah.
You're over here.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. Would you like one?
Right. What you doing? Good. Is that just a package?
Yeah.
What would I have on mine? This is just for me to start with.
How are you, Rich?
Who are you? No, I mean, like, this is.
I hear you have an opening.
No. They're here. It's so sweet. It's adorable. Oh my goodness, such a happy girl. Bless you, Terry.
Thank you.
Stuff, costume, so your
4 o'clock. Justice, Youth and Extension Committee meeting to order for the month of November. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes. Motion's been made to approve and seconded. Are there any further questions or corrections in the minutes as presented? None being heard, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are passed. Public comment. Is there anybody who would like to speak in public comment? Anybody would like to speak in public comment? Okay. Rusk restorative youth programs.
You want me up there or back here?
You take your pick, Rich.
I'll come up, visit up there.
You were sitting there so quietly, you didn't see it.
And I don't even have my camouflage on.
Yeah.
Give it till tomorrow,
Okay.
then you definitely won't see it. Alright, there's an increase in juvenile interaction with law enforcement over the past month or so. Teen court sessions, we did have, one teen finally complete her community service after I sent out a number of letters, kind of threatening. Finally she got that in and got it completed. That was from clear back in last March, I think is when she first appeared, but she got it done nonetheless. To continue on the panel as volunteers, that's kind of a lie, cause I picked up 4 more volunteers over this and then we had the teen court session, so, it was, the last teen court session was fun because I had 6 girls and 1 boy in there, and it was somewhat challenging to maintain some level of order. But I had 3 new intakes completed this month. There's 2 more in the court docket for the next month. Things are progressing pretty good. Had a court date of October 24th. November 14th and 28th are the next 2 coming before, and I've got respondents on both of those court dates. I did have to rearrange traffic court session a little bit. I had it on the 21st, but the senior and youth center was prior booked on the 21st. So I'm dropping one of my teen court dates in December and putting traffic court date in there. So I've got, at least right now, 2 respondents coming up. I've got, I think 2 or 3 more underage people coming up, on court dockets in November, so I'll be able to group those all into that one. Crime for Life, I still only have 3 registrations. One of those individuals in college, so I'm going to schedule that during the Christmas break, when he's home and I get that all knocked off. With 3 individuals, normally it's 2 4-hour blocks. I've touched base with them and I'm looking at, probably 1 6-hour section. We'll hold that here in this room and hopefully get that knocked out in 1 Saturday, probably Saturday before Christmas or after. So I'm looking at that. Victim Impact Panel, I'm gonna hold that the first week in December. I've got a number of traffic, people, underage people that have to come to that. So that, what that generally consists of, when we talked about that before, I'll have, generally a member of the rescue squad come in. I'll probably show a video of the results of an 18-year-old having a graduation party and running over a pedestrian on the way home and causing serious injury, and she talks about the video of what that has changed in her life going forward in her life. It's a pretty impactful video, and generally I have people in tears, and then if I get time afterwards, I discuss, probably towards the end of my law enforcement career, I covered a 7-person fatality involving a drunk driver, so I generally discuss that also going forward. So that's pretty much it for teen court, although I do have to share with you guys something. I got a Journal of Analytical Toxicology, and we talked about vaping a number of times and the use of drugs and what have you. And I just, a lot of technical data and jargon in here. I just wanted to share with you guys a conclusion. And I'll cut that short too. With increasing popularity of these devices over the past several years, the use of these devices has expanded from its traditional use of nicotine delivery system to general drug delivery for illicit, recreational, illicit, proactive substances. A lot of jargon there. Long story short, I've got some technical information in here, but what this, it demonstrates the ability of e-cigarettes to successfully deliver illicit substance such as methamphetamine to the user. Utilizing an e-cigarette aerolizes meth to allow users to vape illicitly drugged in public without suspicion, i.e. in front of law enforcement, at fairgrounds or any place, schools even, you know, and I've talked to a number of the schools and they are seizing vapes basically without having them tested or calling the sheriff's department. That's just taken away from them. So, you know, I hopefully encourage them to maybe become a little more active in law enforcement. I know the sheriff's department gets spread pretty thin and probably isn't gonna be able to run, but I think the schools these days would prepare a good solid report and maintaining the vape as evidence maybe could be followed up on and take some action, because one of the kids admitted to me, oh yeah, the vape I had was marijuana, but they never picked up on it because you don't have the odor. So, going forward, that's a concern at that point. So, you know, kids are still getting in trouble out there. Are they making it into the court system remains to be sure. But the response I've had from the kids, one of the kids in traffic court when did I have it, on the 24th? Other than, the victim impact panel, which already has all the sanctions complete. Community services, paper, and whatever sanctions, so he jumped in that, very responsible young man. Going a little bit too fast, 80 miles an hour plus in a 55 zone, so that'll get you in trouble. But, his dad kind of took care of his driver's license for a period of time, so that's responsible. Other than that, it's been interesting as far as team court goes. Drug court, on the other hand, was
Any questions for Rich?
okay. Want me to hang around and give what I know of the drug court, and I'm sure you got other people talking about that going forward too.
It's next on the agenda, so.
I knew it was, so, basically, we've still got our 2 participants, progress, real good with one, shaky with the other. So we've taken action to address those particular issues. Concern obviously is still not having the coordinator in place, and, hopefully we can move forward in that. My concern is, will not having a coordinator in the hiring process affect the grant, which has to be submitted by the 16th of this month. So I don't know how the grantors are gonna review that, appropriately. I hope we can move forward on that someplace along the line. My concern on a personal level is, back in April, I was asked to fill into that position for a few weeks, until they could get a coordinator and hired, and obviously I don't see that happening before the first of the year, if it happens at all. It's been way longer than a few weeks, and that taken up probably a good healthy 40 to 50% of my time going to work, so, and has resulted in some extra hours, but be that as it may. I don't know, budget on the drug court, all that kind of stuff is going forward, and it takes, people that are smarter than me on that, going forward. I'm hoping that we can get the job description approved and at least move in that direction, to see what's gonna happen in that line. We haven't gotten any referrals, probably, either from probation, parole, the DA's office, or other attorneys, simply because we don't have a coordinator. And from my perspective, I'm glad we don't have a lot of referrals, because I would feel bad for it at this point, so. Any questions as to my part of that? I think Jeremy probably has some information on that, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they should report.
Just in general, I don't have anything, I wasn't there today, so.
Right.
Just-
I noticed your action.
You noticed better than
I did notice your action.
That's fine.
Any questions, Rich? Yeah, my budget for teen court was in there, but that hasn't changed at all from the prior year, so.
Is there any out of county travel for?
Oh, that's what I was gonna mention, and thank you for reminding me, but there is some training scheduled, but it does involve out of county travel, and, we should put in that, I hope that I did. Anyway, it's gonna be all in-service training, and Jeremy, I don't even know if you know about this, but that got sent to me today, and oh yeah, here it is. Training on roles and responsibilities for the team, so everybody knows what their roles are, and then team communications, and that's going to occur, I don't know if every day or a selection of a couple of these days. Monday, November 27th, your season's closed, thank goodness. December 1st, Friday, and Tuesday, Friday, December 7th, and actually that's a Thursday, so that's gonna be put on by Michelle Hart, and I'm speculating, I don't know for sure, but I think she's part of the CAD grant, it's part of the judicial branch going forward, so.
Is that from the DOJ?
Yeah,
Is that part of
yeah,
the training, the
So,
core training you're running?
yeah, so I'm speculating that will be mandatory for at least all the drug court team members.
They mentioned this at the conference, that these trainings are available. I don't know ins and outs of it, but they did mention that that's one of the next trainings coming up.
Right, right, and I think that's really a necessary part of progressing the team going forward, to function more as a unit going forward. Thanks for reminding me of that, Jerry, but that won't involve any out of county travel at all, at least not for anybody that I'm aware of at this point. I don't know if you guys realize it, but, Lizzie, not for now, used to be Lizzie Kirk, was sharing some of the, coordinator duties with me. She has been told now, that, from Department of Corrections, that she not only has no longer being able to do that, but she shouldn't have been doing it all along, so, she's no longer gonna be sharing coordinator duties with me, so. And I'll into my chair. Jeremy has stepped up and volunteered to pick up part of it. At least the hard stuff, right? Okay. Anything else? I don't have anything.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
Approve a letter of appreciation to the DOC for helping with recovery court duties.
Right, so as Rich just, said, Lizzie really stepped up since April and took on a lot of the coordinator duties. She won't be doing that anymore, and I think it's prudent that we recognize, that she went above and beyond to help us out.
See?
Is that it, there, Terry?
Wasn't in the packet, was it?
Right here. We just got it.
This is mine, you should have one too. You and your file.
It wasn't. Oh, yeah. That's not
Yeah,
Letter
there's
of recognition,
the Rusk County logo is in the top right hand corner.
this one.
Yeah, yes, I don't have it.
Oh, am I the only one that's got it?
Seems like it.
Okay. I'll read it quick then. Elizabeth Pierce, probation patrol, senior agent. Dear Miss Pierce, this letter is to formally thank you for your exceptional contribution to Rusk County's recovery court program over the last several months. The program continued to function because of your hard work and dedication. The Justice Youth and Extension Committee recognizes your efforts and the positive effects they have had on the program and the participants and your fellow team members. Thank you again for going above and beyond to support this program. And all of our names down at the bottom. Motion's made and seconded. Questions? None being heard, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Oh, now you want to be technical.
I didn't bring my scale. We can still do the X.
Ain't the little razor sight. Okay, administrative coordinator.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity to address, this committee. The recovery court, formerly known as the drug court, has been a topic of conversation for the last couple of months, and unfortunately, there continue to be issues. So I have prepared a statement, DA Anderson has prepared a statement, she is out of town and couldn't be here, and the sheriff has prepared a statement, so I'll just go ahead and read it, and you guys can ask questions at the end if you have them. Dear members of the Justice, Youth, and Extension Committee, over the course of the last several months, the environment within the Rusk County Recovery Court program has steadily declined, with more serious deterioration noted in recent weeks. Escalating dysfunction, a lack of trust, and insufficient attempts at meaningful communication continue to plague this program. This is not a welcoming or healthy workspace for county staff, community partners, or the participants themselves. For these reasons, it is my recommendation that our county staff no longer participate in this program until a constructive path forward can be determined. I will continue to work with the state, treatment providers, mental health professionals, department heads within the county, and other community stakeholders to determine how best to serve the population that the Recovery Court program seeks to help. I'm confident we can work together to bring the program back to a place where it's functioning effectively and fostering a healthy work environment. Sincerely, Ashley. And then on behalf of the district attorney, who again couldn't be here today. Dear committee members, I support treatment courts. I served as the district attorney's office designee on the AIM, Alternatives to Incarcerating Mothers treatment court team, and the triage team in Eau Claire County. I have been a member of a variety of multidisciplinary teams in county human services departments. Teams are an effective way to coordinate and enhance services for those receiving them. I admire the work that this committee and the full county board undertook over the past 6 months in both public and closed sessions, and while under significant public pressure to make decisions that would preserve the RCRC and protect the county's employees. Recent events indicate that the challenges identified by the evaluation completed a year ago continue to plague the team despite these efforts. These events have hurt participants and team members alike. I cannot place a member of my staff into that environment. Fortunately, it is possible to continue to work together to pursue program opportunities that will serve Rusk County community members in need. The district attorney's office will continue to work with the state, the county's department heads, treatment providers, and community stakeholders to develop these prospects and to forge these relationships. The Criminal Court Coordinating Council, CJCC, is where that can happen. I am also hopeful the RCRC can become an effective program through the meaningful participation of its stakeholders. In the meantime, it is necessary for the district attorney's office to focus its attention on its primary prosecutorial function. Sincerely, Ellen Anderson, District Attorney, Rusk County.
Mr. Wallace.
You all have a copy of my letter. Again, dear members of the Justice, Youth, and Extension Committee, over the past several months, the working environment within the Rusk County Recovery Court program has progressively become more toxic. The Sheriff's Office involvement in this program is reliant on open and honest communication between all members of the Recovery Court, community partners, and participants alike. Due to the increase in confusion, lack of trust, and limited line of communication, the Sheriff's Office participation in the Rusk Court Recovery Program will be put on hold until a more constructive outline of the program is established. I agree to continue working with any and all entities as needed in relation to Recovery Court, with the hope of getting the program back on track and functioning in a manner that benefits all involved.
There's questions. Mr. Jacobs, you're part of this. Is there anything you would like to add, or?
Yeah, there's a couple components here that I'd share. 10 years ago when Recovery Court started here in Rusk County, I was part of that team. That team has a much different look at this point in time. The things outlined by Ms. Heath, the sheriff, the district attorney's office are very concerning. In the last month, I was appointed or asked to supervise the coordinator position. And as a result, I resumed going to the Wednesday morning meetings. I'm very troubled by what I see in that meeting for all of the things that were just mentioned. I'm a little different than all of these folks. Ellen is an elected official, the sheriff is an elected official, our administrative coordinator is my supervisor. I'm very concerned about what's happening in that room. I'm concerned that there's no referrals, I'm concerned that there's limited participation, and there's limited voice in that room. And as a result, I concur with everything that is being said here. And so, I have two people that sit at that meeting on Wednesday morning that actively participate, and they come back and they talk about the fact that they do not feel like they have a voice in that room. No matter what they say, doesn't feel like they have a voice. And as a result, I concur. I don't think that this is a viable option at this point in time. And like my two staff, we're nervous about retaliation for saying these kinds of things. And so, we all have a rooting interest in treatment court and recovery in Rusk County, because we need programming, we need sustainable programming to meet the needs of people that are interested in recovery. That being said, I will work as hard as I possibly can as a department head to promote the earliest of interventions with not only our younger folks, but to our recovery population. It's very important to have a viable diversion option. And right now, I don't think that this is a viable program. Thank you.
What do we have for alternative options?
Without forming, and I've addressed this committee and the county board before to try to say this, and I keep wanting to choose my words properly, because I don't think I have historically. Number one, comprehensive community services is a viable option for folks that are interested in recovery. We have the access to providers that we've never had before. Without trying to create a walking quorum outside of the recovery court with my partners, with my stakeholders, in this, there's significant option available through the DA's office to have a conversation with our office to evaluate and assess what folks may need. So folks that are challenged in their criminal justice system involvement, they still can be sent to our office, and they still can access whatever services that they need at that point in time. That is such a multi-pronged system that I can hardly explain it to you, other than they come to our office, they have a one-on-one with Chris, myself, or whoever, whatever services that they need, and we get them to the providers that they're identifying. Those are for folks that are at a point of contemplating change, or they're even pre-contemplating change. They're there. They're thinking about, I need to change things because I don't want to go to prison, or I want my kids back, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. Those are the folks that we sit down and do assessment with to identify what resources we have or what we have access to get them that service. Okay? That's psychiatric, that's case management, that's individual psychotherapy, that's group therapy, that's individual skill development and enhancement, that's the non-traditional yogas, equine therapy, all of those other ancillary services that we can funnel through for a recovery effort. A lot of it is Medicaid driven, but if somebody is sustainable and they have, like, say, Security Health Plan or some other commercial insurance, we will get them what they can through there. Otherwise, the county has sliding fee services through our department. And so we will not turn somebody away because they don't feel at this point in time that they can pay for it. And so I'm gonna say this very candidly, and because you guys know how I feel about the services that we deliver within Human Services. I'm tired of the drama. I'm tired of showing up on Wednesday morning in a short period of time that I've been there, and it's something new every week. Okay? It's something every week that comes out of that meeting that now there's turmoil. Somebody said something about something, and this happened, and this, and this, and this, and it takes away from the question that you just asked me. We have two participants that we're trying to solve a recovery effort and help them prescribe a plan so that they can move forward and be sustainable in the community. And so what I resolve to is withdrawing from that team, still having my community partners, that we can talk to, and let's develop a plan out of our office and help them access that. If we can't do it, we'll get them to a provider that can help them with it. But I'm tired of all of the other stuff. I got email after email after email about this, that, and the other things that happen, and that's not even half of them, because I'm not tagged in the other ones. So what the heck are we doing? Okay, so I rambled on. I did not answer your question very simply, but I think our office, along with our still community stakeholders, can offer services for recovery.
How soon can we come up with an alternative plan? I know you, sounds like you got all your fingertips, but just have something in writing and then make sure, I don't know what happens to these two people on the court.
What I would ask immediately is if this doesn't, it's not just a clean break. It's not like you can just say, hey, drug court's over, recovery court's over, and that's what it is. Those two folks need to still engage with their community partners, with their stakeholders. They already have service provision. So if they have linear counseling, that needs to continue. If they don't think it's working, let's get them to somebody else. If it's a psychological need, then let's get them to a psychiatrist. We got an AP, we have access to an APNP that does medication-assisted treatment. Mr. Gauger is trained in MRT. We bring him on board separately, so we can continue on providing MRT services. It can happen tomorrow, Mr. Archer, because those two participants, it's already there. It's just would funnel from who's paying the bill to who's going to coordinate the service. If they're involved in comprehensive community services already, which I can't answer that at this point in time, I don't know if both of them are, they already have a case plan that is running parallel to treatment court. And so they just would continue on that CCS plan without getting super deep. Too late, sorry. CCS is an evidence-based program. CCS is driven by the customer. The customer decides. They decide what they want to participate in. Our service facilitators react to that. We do needs assessment. We have the discussion of criminogenic needs and risk factors and all that kind of fun stuff. And then match them with services that are hopefully going to make them successful because they're buying into the plan. So, are people going to be unsuccessful if there's not a recovery court? Yeah, there will be. We've talked about this. There's people that are not successful because they're not ready. And I feel bad for those folks. But we're gonna try to engage them every single opportunity that we can, because you never know when the time is right, when it's gonna click, and they're gonna do great things. But recovery is a very difficult matter.
Further questions? I'd like to comment.
Go ahead.
I think that's the wrong direction. The two participants we have in there right now have shown signs of being successful. Yes, one has faltered significantly, but she has come in, we've met with her. We're doing the drug testing, which is set up through forensic fluids right now, and the actual drug testing does a lot for keeping those participants sober going forward. They know where they're at, they know they have to be sober for the testing. Thanks to the sheriff's department, we've been able to do that on weekends and when I'm not here. They have laid out plans. One of them particularly has made significant progress in that individual's sobriety going forward. I meet with them nearly on a daily basis going forward, and I think that has a tremendous impact on them. Yes, they should take advantage, and yes, I too am concerned about the drama and frustrated over the drama. But I don't think eliminating recovery court is good. What we need to do is correct the drama that is resulted within that. Riley from the sheriff's department has had significant impact, and it's always important to listen to his impact going forward. So I would definitely hate to see that not fall in there, and I don't think CCS has a provision for bringing law enforcement in for their input on that. Those are all things that matter going forward, and for these two individuals and any future individuals going forward, I think CCS has got some good programs, but it wouldn't have the constant contact that the drug court coordinator or myself would have with them. So, based on that, I think it would be a mistake to eliminate that. We've got one participant right now that has just been released from jail, who we've laid out a plan today with her, and that person is in a particularly vulnerable condition right now. We can keep her free of use if we follow that good plan, but if there's a gap in there, and there's gonna be a gap to get her into the CCS program, I fear that individual will falter significantly.
Thank you for your question.
I have a question for Rich. Rich, what, in your mind, how do you think that possibly some of that drama could be curbed?
I think
What do you
everybody
think
has
would be
to function as a team, and this forthcoming training should help, and that's gonna be is to not listen to the outside influences that are coming in, stop the rumors, stop the email chains that seem to go on and on and on regardless of these things. What needs to be discussed in that team meeting and nowhere else. And that's gotta be the bottom line, and human beings being human beings, but talk outside of the team meetings, outside of that team atmosphere is counterproductive. And that is a major problem right now going forward, and there's, Jeremy said he gets a lot of emails. Well, he shouldn't be getting those emails, and what the concerns are should be brought before the team. And when we're discussing participants, and Jeremy, everybody seems to have a say in discussing participants, and the fact that Ellen has arranged for this consensus training, I think that's gonna be a valuable tool to use in the team going forward. And at least I endeavor to seek everybody's input in there when we're discussing the participants. When we get to these outside things that have nothing to do with participants, that's when things run amok. The team does a really good job when we're dealing with the participants. When it gets off course from that, when we're not discussing participants, that's where the drama comes in.
That answer your question?
Kind of. So, specifically, isn't information that's shared at these meetings, isn't that supposed to be confidential?
Absolutely.
Okay, so.
What gets shared in that room should not go beyond that room.
Alright, so if things are leaking out somewhere, I mean, how hard would it be to find out the perpetrators? And what would you do to deal with those people?
I think you're getting in an area that probably I should be covering. But if there's people that are sharing confidential information, they should be on the team.
Thank you.
Long story short.
I think there's a couple components to that, is that, rendering an opinion, two weeks ago, give or take, I had asked the team in the meeting about just that. Is this a closed meeting? Is this an open meeting? HIPAA's HIPAA, okay? If there is confidential information shared in that room about a participant, okay, that cannot be shared. That's mental health, AODA, personal identification of their circumstance. That information cannot be shared, okay? However, there was an accusation that there was a breach of confidentiality brought forth to the team meeting, okay? From there, it just went crazy, because it was a specific allegation to a group of people, a group of professionals that live by HIPAA, that there was a breach, okay? And there was a context that was portrayed. Okay, that's fine. Next thing I know, I've got a law enforcement officer sitting in my office asking me about what I heard or did hear in that meeting that morning. So I provided a statement, okay? Because I heard some things that didn't really line up for me, okay, as a professional. So when Mr. Gauger talked about that, I need, for my staff to continue in that program, or for that program to continue, is that an open meeting? Because we don't go into closed session, okay? We're not an open entity, identifying with an agenda that we're going into closed session. Mr. Kells here is an attorney, maybe he can speak a little more candidly on this, but that's not an, HIPAA's HIPAA, but the closed meeting that's happening in that room, the functionality of the team is what I think got breached as well, is that, people started talking about other things. But the drama that I speak of is driven by the fact that there's these renditions of how it should be run, okay? And then all these offshoots of where an email starts to a certain group of people, and then an email goes over here to another group of people.
Jeremy, I'm gonna hold you up here a minute. Lynn, you're a whole lot smarter in this than I am, but if this is crossing any line in closed session, I would ask that you please speak up.
I'm purposely not gonna talk about anything that, any certain person or anything like that. It's the group environment that has gotten so far away from what the intent is of a recovery court, okay? Again, at the risk of talking too much, I'm sorry. I just went to the conference, the treatment court, recovery court conference. Everybody in that conference, 100 people, talked about the same thing, is you're trying to coordinate a triangle that is very difficult. Law enforcement, these are all nice people. Law enforcement, judges, district attorney office. You're trying to triangulate an effort for the good of a consumer. It's very difficult, okay? Very difficult. Everybody has opinions, okay? Ours is so off track right now that I agree with what Mr. Gauger said. I have no ill will towards Mr. Gauger or anybody on the team, is that I don't know what can fix it, okay? But I'm not gonna subject my staff to sit in a room where they don't feel like they have a voice, nor that things are being done properly to serve the population that we're trying to serve. So, that being said, there is some information that I think, Ms. Heath will bring to your attention that need to be held in close session.
So, we've talked about this the last 6, 8 months or longer. It seems like we've been round and round and trying to fix a program that's helping 2 people, but our need in our community is significantly greater than 2 people. And at some point, we need to try something else or move on, because we had all the people here a few weeks ago at a county board meeting, because they keep concerned that things have made a difference in people's lives. We're not making a difference in people's lives right now, very few people. We need to, I think, take a risk or take a chance and say, hey, let's do a quick program that, because we got needs that we're not meeting, and we're gonna go another 6 months and we're not gonna meet these needs unless we do something, take a chance at something else. Now, I agree with Mr. Gauger that I think we wanna get as many stakeholders in, not just HHS. You guys have a great program. I think you guys got a great base, and actually I prefer you guys kinda drive the program, but bringing in other people, because you guys got the resources, CCS, like you said. I think we talked about before, maybe one of your meetings, you talked about how CCS has, in 2016, it's helped about 9 people or something. Now it's, so there's other programs since the drug court came in that there's helpful, and then expand that. And I think on our agenda for tomorrow is a prevention coordinator. Part of this is we need to start, and Mr. Gauger, it's said over the last year, is that what used to be kids would be 17, 18, start experimenting with drugs or whatever, it's way low. We need to start bringing our reach down lower, a lower age, and then targeting the schools, take a more holistic approach to this, an integrated approach. So I would personally,
I wouldn't make no motion into that closed session.
yep, I'm just saying, I would like to see a program that starts meeting the needs of the community more, and broaden the scope of 2 people.
Yes. Carl, is there anything you would like to add to any of this?
I can add that, after checking with Wisconsin DOJ section on open meetings and open records, drug court is not, the meetings we have are not subject to closed session because they're not subject to open session. If they were subject to open session, we have to issue agendas that be posted 48 hours in advance. We're really just subject to the rules of confidentiality. And it's in the long run in HIPAA, but that's more of a Jeremy thing than opposed to others, but in the same vein, we shouldn't be discussing anything about participants outside, the team. However, I think there has to be an understanding that most of us who show up for that meeting, we're nothing more than merely representatives of the stakeholder. I'm not there as myself, I'm there as a representative of the district attorney. Riley's not there as himself, he's a representative of Sheriff Wallace, and so on and so forth. So, I know there's been discussion that we shouldn't say whoever happens in that meeting, we shouldn't redisclose, but we need to, us who are there have to report to our bosses and supervisors, because they're the actual stakeholder, their department, their agency, and so forth. So, I hear what Rich says, but I take a slight different take on that, because, you know, my boss isn't county board, or Ashley, or other people, it's the district attorney herself. Just like Riley, it works for Sheriff Wallace, so we have other, as I say, we have other people we have to answer to. But more importantly, again, these are the individuals who are actually form this team, we're just their representatives coming to the meeting. And you know, given the choice of working for my boss versus some strange definition of confidentiality, that's one of the problems I see here, and that's very concerning. I mean, I will always report to my boss. I want to keep my job. That seems to make sense to me. So that's all I got to add at this point.
Is there any other questions? Thank you all for your input. At this time, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. Motion's been made, is there a second? Second by Mr. Anderson. Mr. Kruger.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson. Now going into closed session, Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, para 1, para F. The preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have an adverse effect upon the reputation of any person involved in such personnel problems. Carl, would you? At this time, we would ask a motion to come out of closed session.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the county board that we replace the drug recovery part with the diversion alternative program. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any questions? None being heard, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. DA's report.
We emailed out the numbers earlier today, so you guys should have those. The only thing, I did see is that there's one out of county travel request for victim witness, workshop that's being held in the area.
Okay, that would be Nancy Hahn.
Correct.
Total cost is $62.40. She said location is Barron County.
I make the motion to approve that.
Motion's made and seconded by Mr. Caleb. Is there any questions? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Out-of-county travel is approved.
And other than that, any questions for me?
Not that I can think of right now.
Thank you.
Extension office.
Whoever wants to.
I have some information, sorry, for you. I did send an email, I think, out to everyone about Mary's resignation, so November 15th is her last day. And, so now I'm just probably showing down the hall, she's working on the transition document and, getting things in order so that, 90s and charters and annual financial records and all that kind of stuff. So, so that's what she is working on, as well as kind of the transition of, the AmeriCorps person and how do we keep that going and, all that kind of stuff. So, I think we're hoping for a good transition with all of that. I think with that, I was able to talk with Jonathan yesterday and a little bit today too, and just thinking about moving forward and we're probably exhausted right now, but thinking about, kind of what do we do next and what kind of conversations do we need to have, what kind of, ongoing aligning expectations that we started having conversations about, so I'm looking forward to those, kind of crucial conversations of figuring out what we do. So, I think that entails, 4-H leaders and what do they want, what do they need, and, aligning those roles and expectations and responsibilities, the support staff kind of support for the 4-H program, committees, extension, everyone to just kind of look at all that. So, that's in the future. I know Jonathan said maybe it would be good for us to look at a job description in December. We can certainly do whatever we need to do for that. So, I don't know, any questions or anything else I can answer about transition?
What our existing job description suffice, or?
It's not ours, it's the state's.
Or the state's, was that?
Yeah, it's a state, so we always, we tweak the job summary of what it needs to the community.
Oh, to kind of fit the.
Well, so when we talk, like you mentioned, aligning expectations, that helps us, the job description, what you expect of us and what we expect of us, I think would be good, just, nothing else, just for informational, for us all to understand. And maybe we might need changes, but at least we know. The committee shared with us before, and I completely forgot about it.
It's traditionally what we do, in other counties as well, like here's the job, right? Is this still something that the counties want? And if so, what are the priorities so that we can work on kind of a first year plan of work that's new to us? So bringing someone on board and saying, this is specifically what we want you to do over the first year, and after that, kind of transition into some other priorities as well. So, all that work is ahead of us, doesn't happen overnight. I wish it did, but, it won't. It'll be good, I think, good conversations for us all.
And I think it's the right time also, Charlene helped me with getting her job descriptions. That, maybe it's the right time to look at those then too.
Maybe we need to have a visioning session. Haven't had one in 4-H in a very long time.
Yeah, that's something that we did over in Sawyer County. Last time we hired someone, some listening sessions, some, visioning sessions, and that's with community members, with committees, with leaders, with, lots of different things. So, if it's okay with you, for December, I'm glad to come back and just say, hey, here's some options, maybe a menu of options of how you wanna move forward. I don't wanna worry about that tonight necessarily, I just wanted to kind of update you with where we were with things. So, that sounds like a good plan for December.
Questions?
November 15th. Yep.
Any other questions for Lori at this point?
I wanna give you a quick update too about FoodWise and AmeriCorps, if that's okay. So FoodWise, Kathy Splatt has been the coordinator, housed out of Barron County for Barron and Rusk. And so Andrea and Kathy have been your, educators in Rusk. As of July of 2024, which sounds like a really long way away, but it really won't be. Kathy is retiring, and so we are moving toward an area model of FoodWise. So our coordinator out of coordinating the 5 counties, and that will include Barron and Rusk. She already does Washburn for next week. So, that's a position that we'll be posting internally. And so, I would like to bring, once all that's settled, I would like to bring Bridget back for you to meet Bridget instead of Kathy. And then Bridget and Kathy will now be working, if Bridget gets the job, will now be working toward, transitioning the Rusk Community Garden and all the programming that Andrea's been doing into Bridget's oversight. And so, hoping that transition will go well. So that's coming up with Food Wise. And then, I got this yesterday from, the AmeriCorps STEM classroom, and I thought it was appropriate to share with you. If I would've had it sooner, I would've put it in your packet, but I'll just read it to you if that's okay, of what is happening at Flambeau. So, the Flambeau School District has partnered with 4-H AmeriCorps, the county to provide 4-H agriculture STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics related education and engagement opportunities to youth in our school. 4-H AmeriCorps has enrolled Serenity Petke, is that how you Serenity Petke, a native of Lady Smith, to work collaboratively with teachers in grades 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. Serenity started meeting with students in designated classrooms in early October. Since then, she has provided instruction in the areas of teaching students about what STEM is, the concepts of rainfall, plant nutrients and needs, seed germination, and flowers and pollination. In her teaching, Serenity is excited to provide her students not only with information that allows them to understand agriculture better, growing a respect for the food that they eat and those who grow it, but also with applicable practices where they get the chance to see agriculture happening before their very eyes and utilize these practices in the future. Students are excited and eager each week to learn about the topics that Serenity is presenting on. The educational opportunity in 4-H STEM learning activities contributes to building a strong foundation in science, technology, engineering, and math. These experiences not only foster an interest in STEM fields, but also develop critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and a sense of community engagement among youth. So Wisconsin 4-H has placed AmeriCorps members with the Flambeau School to expand capacity at the school and grow 4-H clubs through 4-H STEM. In the school clubs is that new thing we're trying to call it another thing. So, I know Jonathan and I talked about maybe in the future Serenity also, if you're interested, could come to the committee and let me know what else she's doing. But until then, I wanted you to at least have a little bit of insight into what that program's looking like, because I know we were all kind of curious. What's the STEM stuff and what's she doing over there? So, I hope that was helpful. The Falcon 4-Hers is what's going to happen.
That sounds like an interesting program.
A different way to grow 4-H. It's worth highlighting. That's all my notes, yeah. It's all my blue notes in there.
Questions? Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have other conversations individually. I know I put that in the email if you want to talk to me and have a follow-up. I didn't want to bug you with phone calls unless you wanted to, so. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
You're done, or you got some more for?
Well, I can interject a little bit. It's enrollment time. Actually, today's the deadline. Currently, we have 129 improved enrollment, so there's still some stragglers out there. But anyway, that's right now. And then last weekend was a red carpet event at the theater. It was a culmination of Mary wanted to show a volunteers appreciation, and so Leaders Council decided to merge Achievement Day, Parent Leader Banquet all into one, and so that was last Saturday. So kids got certificates and prizes for, doing record books, and volunteers got certificates of recognition, so. And now it's just, it's the beginning of a new 4-H year and the end of one, so this is usually where I make up the majority of the hours I haven't worked for the rest of the year, so, so that's all I have on extension.
Okay, trails up.
All right, well, Lois is in another state right now, so I'll just.
Try another
country.
continent.
Oh, she is, that's right, she's in another continent, yes, forgot where she went. Anyway, most of the stuff, I'll just run through the last meeting. The Board of Trustees has their annual meeting in October, and unfortunately, we did not have quorum, but you guys really make the decisions for them, so, we had a great discussion on many things. So I'll just, give a little recap here. So James, the caretaker, he talked about what he has done in 2023 and what he plans on doing in 2024. We talked about the swinging bridge issues. I reported on the vast amount of rec ed licensing changes there are coming down the pike. We have a donation from the Jana Kelly Memorial Foundation of obstacle course valued at $15,000. That will be announced it has been announced today or very shortly it'll be announced. But I took that to property, they approved it, but we went out there and met with them, and it'll be where the current obstacle course is, but you can't even tell there is an obstacle course, so it'll be 100% revamped. And the great thing about it is they're going to go buy it all and come and install it all, so nothing really has to run through the county. But yeah, that will be super cool to have that. We talked about rates and policy changes, so that's later on the agenda. Utility charges, we talked about that. And then a couple people have said, why don't you guys do online reservations like Forestry does? So I did some research, and it would be about $650 to add an additional location under what they currently have, but there was no interest by the trustees at this time. Our situation is a lot more elaborate, so they didn't bite, so.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If we did something like that, how much would that help you?
In the long run, it might help, cause right now it is a big struggle keeping everybody straight, especially when they wanna change their dates. For example, next June, there's only 2 free days, the entire month. And 3 of those groups wanted to change days, I'm like, you can't. One wanted 8 overnights, I'm like, I can't give you 8, I can only give you 7. And that's after asking a family reunion that's new to us to come a day later. But the problem is you have people who have their reunions on the same weekend, every year. And now you can leave it wide open, you can let them, book several years in advance, but what if somebody books 5 years from now on a weekend that's a Vertigan family reunion, so.
The commitment to where they have like so much time, 30 days after they need to renew for the next.
Right,
year.
that would just,
You can
Yeah.
shut that down.
yep, you can.
She doesn't have to let them book that far ahead. And she can block off anything that, has to do with that program. So let's say the fair is the second week in August, she can block it off, where nobody can book anywhere in there. She can block certain things off, and she can have control over what happens to that program.
You said the one.
I sure did.
So you think that would save her time at all?
You bet. And it also saved her time on, if there was, if somebody wants to switch a weekend or whatever, with forestry, you book a campground, or a camping site, you book a camping site. If you wanna change it, well then she's gotta get involved and book, do that. But she's gonna see things that, it saved me like a lot of work, tons. And you can print off a report, she can see exactly what's on there, she can give it to the caretaker, he can get on there. There's so many things you can do with that program. You can take pictures, so you go in there and you take a drone, you fly it, you can see everything and you can post it right on that site. Anything you want to do, you can do it. It's pretty cool.
Yep, and that was all presented to them, but, it's not like we just have one rate. After we talk about rates, we have a credit use rate, we have a rec ed license, we have campground. Yes, you can add all that, but they felt that it was, it's easier for booking, but much harder on the users who continue to come every year. So they were not interested in going that route currently.
So can they do a drop down box where
Yep.
you're a private user versus
Yep.
whatever?
Yep. They can set everything up.
So it's something we might want to reconsider.
Lisa come in, or Lisa, give a presentation on Lisa Bankers, she's the one that actually came in and sold the program to the forest people. And was very good.
Maybe we should have, like, but she's the one that uses it, right? She knows.
Yeah, she reached out to her rep or whoever that lady is, and, yeah,
The rep's gonna sell it to us, Heidi's gonna tell us the good and the bad, because doesn't have any question yet, right?
But Heidi wasn't there when I was doing it.
But if we can find a way to technology, take some of the burden off of you, that'd be great. So, we should think about it.
We had to have like 4 people in the office all the time, cause we couldn't.
Oh, we talked about bylaw revisions, but since we didn't have quorum, we put that off until April, which will be our next meeting, cause we don't meet over the winter time. We have a vacancy in school rep, hunting permit applications, they've been coming in steadily, I think I had my 4th one today. And trustee term expiration renewal, we looked at that. So that was just a general recap of the meeting, and, then I'll open up all the other things that we're gonna talk about. So, 24 rate increase. Okay, so, we'll start with the hard one first. So private use, currently, it's $300 a day plus tax. So they went to 500. So, I had called surrounding rec ed camps and there's not a lot. And the one that used to be in Washburn is probably not going to be in existence, you know, it was shut down 2 years ago and it's so old that they said if anything, we'll maybe make one building historical and, what?
That's a question.
Oh, yeah,
In regards to, the daily amount of $300 for private use, just curious, do you, excuse me, do you charge a deposit?
yes,
Yes, okay.
yep, and I'm sorry, I was not pulled up, so you guys gotta remind me when I forget to do that. So anyway, then, looking at other counties, it was, we were undercharging, heavily for what they get. One county charged $450 a night, but they don't even have showers, so, the acreage wasn't comparable, so anyway, they went to 500, but then they thought, well, we do have some nonprofit groups, so they created a nonprofit rate of $350, and of course, if they turn in their tax exemption, they wouldn't have, tax. We didn't really talk about setup fee, but, for example, if there was a wedding and they wanted to come in after 3 o'clock on Friday, and there's no overnight stay, it's $100. So we forgot to talk about that, I probably would've upped that to $50 or something. Utilities, we hemmed and hawed whether or not to, get a meter for the gas stove, and, currently our rates were $1 for a minimum of gas, $2 for a minimum of electric, they just raised it both to 5. And hardly any group did I ever charge, unless it was early or late, you know, when they turned on the heater in Ebling. Otherwise, I just charge groups minimum. So that will help at least make some money, but for $700 some for a meter, and that's not even labor, it just didn't make sense to do it at this time. And we upped the security deposit from $300 to $500. And then we talked camping. So we recently went to property with a proposal to upgrade the electric. So we allow 5 RVs, and there's some tent camping. So we were like, how do we recoup the money, and how do we just charge the groups that utilize camping? So right now we have a quote for $4,200 to upgrade electric, but we need 3 quotes and yada yada. So what they wanted to do was charge the county rate of $30 just for those 5 sites. So 4 or more sites requires a temporary campground license. So right now that's $175 plus we add on $25 because I have to do that license because I have to do that applications because it's our license. So anyway, the temporary campground license is still $25 in addition to whatever the license is going to be, because now the whole rec ed licensing is restructured now, so I have no idea what what we're even gonna get charged. But anyway, so whether you have 3 or whether you have 5, you know, that'll just be tacked on at the end. So if 3 people use the, you know, 3 of the 5, you know, it'd be $30 a night. That's about it, other than changing the phone number there, so that's private use. Do you want me to just keep going with all the changes, or do you wanna talk about one usage
It's
at a
up to you
time?
guys, you wanna okay them or not okay them one by one, or all?
Okay,
Take over the question I had is restroom.
so youth, they did not wanna change the youth rates at all, so it's still $3 per person per day. Except for the utilities, we would be changing, from $1 and $2 to $5 for each. That's it for private use,
I got another question.
or for youth, yeah.
So, how long does it take you to cover the gas and electric fees? Like, somebody's gotta go out to record them and then you
It's on checkout, so when James checks a group out, he does meter readings, and then I get a billing statement, so that'll tell me what the prior meeting reading, what the current one is. I just do simple math, times it by the rates, and then I can show you all the current year users and what I
So,
bill.
say 15 minutes, group, total between his time and your time?
Yeah, it's not very labor intensive, but on that billing form, I also find out if they're gonna have camping, if they used any canoes, and then all of those fees, after they leave, that gets backed out of their security deposit, so,
The only reason I'm asking is, if it sounds like not hardly anybody's making the minimum, should we not even worry about calculating it? Are we thinking?
for gas, we're not worried about calculating it at all. We're gonna still continue to do, electric readings, cause
We could use all those.
everybody, you know, I mean, and we're not gonna change the per kilowatt, you know, cause right now we charge 15 cents per kilowatt, but, it's just easier, so many people say, cause they wanna estimate, you know, they wanna budget their time, what do utilities run? I can say minimum $5, up to 75, it just depends, are you gonna turn the heater on, are you gonna take 5 showers a day, I mean, it really depends.
That's the one, if we're never making the minimum, that we spend the time, if we're making over the minimum. then-
Yes, yep, most electric, I rarely charge a minimum rate, cause it's always above that, but yeah, this would cover it for sure. So that's it for rates, if you're okay. So it's a little confusing with the camping, but I asked, you know, Jamie, I'm like, well, can we, you know, just charge for camping, put in a non-lapsing fund and, you know, recoup our costs, and she's like, well, no, then Forester's gonna wanna do that, and that's opening up a big can of worms, so, you know, we don't have any carry forward, so, it's just to put that amount of money into, electric that only a few people use, it just made sense to charge the users. So, are you okay with all of these changes? Do you wanna, change the setup fee at all? It's green because we forgot to talk about it, so.
That was, we never had that, right? We never had a.
Cause you stayed overnight the first night.
Right, I mean, no, that's never been an option, right, for the setup fee or
Oh,
something?
it has been, yes. Maybe 3 groups utilize that, you know. So compared to $500, so if they come in at noon, they stay over the night, it's $500. They come in after 3, and leave, don't stay overnight, it's 100, so it is a big difference.
Yep.
Huge savings.
Any questions? What Charlie's presented?
That's good.
So keep setup fee $100. Okay.
Good, is there a motion to accept?
Motion to accept the new rate increase.
I second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any further questions on the rates that are set for Trails End Camp? None being heard, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Approval of 4-H citizen rep.
Yep, so we're not, so both Mary, she was serving in the 4-H role, and Jimmy Moore was the public citizen rep, so, we don't need to do the 4-H one, we're just gonna have a vacancy. Leaders Council, when they reviewed their bylaws, they hadn't even realized that they had a rep, and they do, and so they were hoping to just, you know, whoever can come, but the trustees aren't like that. You know, you have a specific person, but one of the things we did discuss, which we'll have to wait till April, is to have a designated person from your group, but then allow an alternate. But the way Leaders Council wanted to do it is just to, you know, 1 out of the 7, whoever can go, and it's really hard to set fees and policies if you have no backing. And so I did talk to Leaders Council about that, they're gonna revisit that, at their next meeting, but bylaws will just put off, until next year. So I just need approval, for Jimmy Moore to remain the public citizen rep.
Entertain that motion. Made by Mr. Caleb, second by Mr. Undershoots. Any questions? Any heard, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it is approved. Mr. Undershoots.
J Club.
Anything else for Trails and Charmaine?
Nope, unless you have any questions.
I don't, anybody else? Okay. Fairgrounds report.
Okay, I apologize, but when, I received the SharePoint version of this, the Blue Hills Equestrian Pony Club was on there, but somebody must have taken that off. So they are on their way, so hopefully we can cover that under, Fairgrounds report. But right now, the only thing I have to say for Fairgrounds is that it is now fully winterized. Several items are now in storage, so put away for the winter. I do have one usage agreement, and it's so funny, the day after committee raised rates, we booked a wedding, so, and then we have another one coming the weekend after, so it's getting a little crazy, at the fairgrounds now. So this is Hannah Abiel, wanting to get married. This is the first weekend in October. Now typically water is shut off. So, and then this other wedding that you'll hear about next month, is the second weekend. So cross your fingers, hope that, all is well. So typical with the weddings, they are, requesting exemption from quiet times, alcohol and water. So.
Any questions about this?
And then they, you know, they'll need the typical garbage
Usage
cans,
agreement.
tables, things like that.
There's 2 usage agreements, right?
There's only one. I called the lady, they didn't get it done yet. I said, well, you have plenty of time, you know, so only one wedding today.
Is there any questions? Not, is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the usage agreement.
Along with, the exceptions,
Along with the exception.
thank you, or exemptions, whatever.
All water.
Motion's made, is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Gudo. Any questions? None being heard, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Usage agreement is approved.
Okay, Fairgrounds project meeting recap. We met, we brainstormed, everybody had 3 post-it notes, they got to pick their top. Now this was unlike last year's meeting where all fairgrounds users, where we had T-ball, we had everybody. This was specific to the North End Animal Projects, the barns. So we got together, we discussed mainly what needs there are, whether it's high, medium, low, whether it's long-term, short-term, or if it's just a maintenance thing. And then we talked a bit about funding, but the evening got long, so we didn't, you know, solve all the problems. But then, on Monday night, I think, we had, a walkthrough of the fairgrounds. And so it's one thing to talk about them, but then it's a whole nother thing to see, you know, and to pick up on things like wash racks, you know, what does that really mean? But when you see like, wow, animals get tied up to that, you know, it kind of puts some perspective on things. So, so these are the findings. These are all the individual posties. So I have all of that, and then this is all the findings from last year, March, from all the users. And you can see some of the top things are still on the agenda. The East Wing, bathrooms, those are some of the heavy hitters. So now I'm gonna turn it over to Jess if she wants to interject, because we wanted to inform you of these findings and then get your blessing to take certain issues to property. Obviously, we can't do all this all at once.
Just,
So, we are wanting, I didn't take very good notes on this part, I apologize, but we are wanting to go back to property to ask them if they will, I guess, unhold the project of us getting sponsors, because I can't quite remember from the minutes if it was finance or it was properties, which committee put the project on hold for us to be able to go and get sponsors to repair buildings, put up a new building, whatever is going to happen out there. The East Wing, then they condemned, and they condemned it and they put everything on hold for us getting sponsors. So we have to go back to them now to ask them, are you okay if we restart this whole process of going out and getting sponsors to put up the building? We also want to bring to them, we'll have numbers by the meeting next week. Horse has some doors, latches that need to be fixed. We'll get some better prices on there. They were one of the groups that actually came very specific with improvements that they needed done out there for safety of their animals and the exhibitors, both. So that's something that we need to work on. Again, we'll get some numbers for them before Friday to bring to them, but wanted to let you know that is one thing we're going with, because Candor did come very specific, showed us what the problems were. Wash racks, it kind of sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, Sherman, it kind of sounded like maintenance could just deal with all the wash racks out there for the most part, because horse wash racks are bad too. They have some drainage issues, it's going back into the foundation. Some of it is just simply, it sounds like, landscaping that's grown up over the years, and so they need to kind of grade that stuff away with the skid steer.
The cement is, the concrete that's in the wash racks is, the grass and everything is built up, and the land is actually higher than the concrete. So the water don't go nowhere. As Jess said, some landscaping, some seeding.
Even those racks are supported by what looks like old
treated posts or untreated posts, yeah.
like old plow blades. Or
It is, it's some sort of piece, it's metal.
it's metal.
It's some
They're
sort
metal.
of piece of
They
metal.
look like, you know, what you put on like the plow blade.
Okay.
That strip of metal. There's a name for it. I can't think of it.
Sure.
And so so anyway, I mean, it doesn't rot obviously, but it does like this, you know. Now if you get an animal that gets a little aggressive or something, I mean, they're gonna yank on that thing. So, and I don't know.
I'm not real sure what Gary's thought was on that. At this point, they definitely need to be fixed.
In one spot, there was that big tree too that would evidence that the root system was actually getting underneath the cement.
Concrete, yeah.
Yeah, and it's making that come up there.
I think spring, we'll probably just want to report that too, but I believe in the spring, you know, it's kind of getting late now, it's cold, we're gonna have to get a better idea of what to do there. I don't believe those projects are gonna be very, cost a lot to get them. It sounds like the boards are gonna put some paint on, tighten them up a little bit, however he's gonna do it to make them more sound.
are for the east wing? And if there are no plans, will they allow us to fundraise for a plan? So it's wash racks, the horse stuff, east wing, and, electrical. And Gary did tell me today that he was, hoping to have Mark Berg come to the property meeting, because it seems like, you know, the county's put so much money into electric, and so why are we still having these issues? Well, there's a variety of reasons. We're having issues in specific areas. So, one of the problems is because, you know, we just don't have enough electric camp spots. We have so many people that wanna come. So it's a good problem to have, but then you need to, you know, plan for that. And we ran out, like, very quickly, we ran out of electric spots. So those are just some of the things that we'd like to, go to property with your blessing.
There was also that other thing with the human area for behind the clubhouse, behind the horse.
Or to fix the fence,
Yeah.
the horse area, yeah.
Yeah, there's a fenced-in area behind the clubhouse
Yeah.
where the horse arena is. It's huge, and probably, I would guess 90% of the posts have seem to be rotten at the base. So it was discussed also that maybe that could be significantly reduced in size because it said, I mean, basically people said that, you know, not that many people actually utilize it.
Yeah, so it would be the north side of that, they put a set of bleachers or two there.
Yep.
And they would continue to wanna do that, but that fence is up so horses can't get in there, they keep the horses out, okay, so it's kind of a safe area for all of the people watching and children and whatnot, so they're not actually by the horses. Right now, it's huge, and they don't need it, so we're thinking about bringing it in because literally the posts are rotted and the fence is like leaning, like it's gonna fall over on that north end really anytime. Again, we need to get some prices on that, but that is another project that Gary felt they could do, maintenance could do, we wouldn't have to hire someone outside to do that. We just have to figure out how much it's gonna cost for the posts to replace that.
Which then could also open up an area for a possible addition of campsites.
Yeah.
For, you know, people that would want to rent space for campers.
And they thought they could pull electrical from the building, which I'm not an electrician, so that's all gotta be questions of Mark, cause we don't wanna run too many cords and, you know, all that stuff, that's more of an electrician thing.
Depends on how much service goes out there.
Right, and some of the things were luxury items, like it'd be great to have electric by the mud bog, but that was over $10,000, so we realized, you know, we kinda went based on needs, you know, what's the highest priority. Start there and see what we can all accomplish.
Issue, any questions?
Who was it that brought up about the cost, like for?
East wing,
Yeah.
Eric.
So, and which I didn't realize, but I got a good look at the east wing, and it's like the sidewalls on the east wing are like,
The foundation's tipped in, yeah.
which is the foundation is tipped, it's because of the foundation. So Eric said that, he checked at Menards and you could put up a comparable building there. You got the materials set from Menards for, was it like 11.5?
17,500.
17.5? Yeah.
But then he would donate, you know, some of his labor. So.
Yeah, which
But for
I
under
think would be
20,000 is
probably
25.
significantly cheaper than possibly maybe what John is proposing. I mean, I'm not trying to undermine John or anything. So, yeah.
Johnny Ross, a totally
Oh.
different building.
Yeah, totally.
This would be just replacing what we have, Johnny's was a way different structure, so yeah, they're not really comparable, but yes, this would be a much cheaper option
Yeah.
to versus, you know, that more expensive one. And I don't think we're there yet to present them that dollar amount or anything to them. We haven't done enough research to make sure that's, everything included, cause that was just really quick, he looked. So I wouldn't wanna give them that number yet. At the property, we have to.
Sure, that would be
a lot of work.
Just a suggestion, not a.
Yeah, no concrete, Gary and him both felt concrete should go in after the building is up. And again, this is, their thought was to get sponsors for this, to go out. That's, a lot of fairs are doing that right now. And so, but as I explained to them, we can't right now. We can't do anything until we're told we can, so.
Why were you told you couldn't? Cause there was a building that they weren't sure about?
No, cause last year when this started, they first presented the big building to them and the cost, we had all the blueprints from Tony Lumber and everything, the dollars. It wasn't good timing, it was pretty big, they had other things on their plate. They sent us back and forth a few different times to get different things, and then it just got to the point where it just needed to be put on hold. We weren't given a no, we were just so upset, this year we can't do it. And then, everything needs to just be put on hold for now, so. Don't get sponsors, don't do anything, cause that's what we were going to do then, and they said no. So,
They would entertain. It's gotta be a motion or not, but they have the authority to go to property. Or permission, I should say, to go to property with.
I'll make a motion for the presentation of property.
Motion's made, is there a second? Second by Mr. Undershoots. Or Mr. Cato, made by Mr. Undershoots.
Do we also wanna entertain a motion?
Let's finish this one. Let's finish this
Oh,
one.
we're not done yet?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I see.
Is there any questions on the motion that's on the floor? Not being heard, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion does carry. Now,
Thank you, sorry about that. Do we also want to have a motion to, come before the board in regards to the, see if we can actually get sponsors?
property will send.
Property does that?
Property will send that forward, yes.
Oh, okay.
Property will send that forward. Anything else on that?
Not on that, but, Robin Trott is here, and, last month when we talked about it, you directed me to send a letter stating, remove the property within 30 days. So I did that, and then Robin called, and she's like, well, a lot of that stuff I allow the horse project to use, and I know it's confusing, it's like, well, what is the pony clubs, what's the horse project? So before the meeting on Monday, Kendra went out there and kind of inventoried everything, and took pictures. So the question still is inside that building, the changing room, right now, only pony club stuff is there. So anything that was, horse project was removed. So you still have the issue on hand, but, Robin is here now to talk about what's theirs, what's her, so.
Go ahead, Robin.
Well, I just wondered, if there's an agreement to be made, or you just want us to get our stuff out, or, I guess we weren't clear, we've been in that building for, 12 years or so, and used it, we've always let the 4-H use all of our stuff. Kendra didn't even know that the things that they were using, all the jumps and everything, were actually ours, that I've always left out in the open, that they can use all year round. I did take out the things in the 4-H building that were mine and took them home. The cones and things like that, and I had some barrels and things that were in there, and I did take those things out. I guess we didn't understand that there was some issue that we didn't know. I mean, we just always have been there, and we've always done things, back when we started using the building, there was at the end of the building where Daniel Leckleitner's picture is at the end of the race barn, there used to be landscaping there that we always kept that up when we were using it. All the 4-H forks and rakes and wheelbarrows had flat tires, everything was just flung in there. We were the ones who fixed all that up. We hung those things on the walls. Anytime that there was things broken in the stalls, before we ever used the barn for our shows and for our clinics and whatnot, we fixed all those things ourselves. We just felt that was our responsibility to do that. We just didn't know that there was an issue.
Well, Robin, I think, and somebody correct me if I'm speaking wrong here, I think the issue is it comes down to what's left on county property in that there is considered the county's, probably more for the fact that the county insures it and they can't insure something that is not theirs.
Sure.
There is a couple of things, I mean, large ticket items out there that are put there for the 4-H to use that are considered the county's at this point, but at the point that the county no longer wants them or whatever, they can be returned to the owner, which is an elderly gentleman. I guess I'm not sure where to go with this without getting some advice from Rich. Because if everybody's using it, I don't see a problem with it staying there, but it can't be somebody else's other than the county's at that point. Anybody else got something, please?
Well, they may be using the stuff that's outside, but, that's a, different lock. So nobody goes into that building right now, but Pony Club.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things outside in the arena, but both sides of those rooms are all Pony Club. So, the Lions, JC's, we have contracts with them. If you have sole usage of a building and you don't want the county to own your stuff, you have a contract and you pay. So you could research that with Rich, or, everybody's allowed in there and everybody gets, the stuff belongs to the county and everybody can use it.
That was the issue, Terry.
Yeah.
Is if we didn't have no contract with it, if our building, if their building, if Ruth's building.
Well, I was mistaken, John, that Robin said, that, the 4-H clubs and others are using it, that it passed my mind that there was two different, we're talking about two different things here, so. Yeah, and Charmaine is right, cause the Lions, the FFA, that's all theirs and that's under contract to us. And, they've got their own building on our grounds. The issue I see with this is that is not Pony Club's building. That is, and I don't know when it was built, I got no idea when.
Correct. It's a county-owned building.
Yeah.
So, yeah, currently your contracts that you have, they own the building, they own the contents, and we just have the ground underneath. So, we would definitely need to talk to Rich on that.
Yeah, cause and I guess, apples to oranges here, I guess, but it's, Charmaine is right. I mean, the Lions built that building, they built the pavilion, they just added on to it. And their contract is on our land, not our building, so you're actually in our building. I don't even know where to go with that without talking to Rich.
Do you have a preference, Robin?
We just wondered what to do with it. I mean, it is easier for me to have the things up there, so when we do have clinics for the kids, the stuff is there. I have a whole nother set of things at my barn, so that stuff could stay up to the fairgrounds, because it's just easier to keep it there, rather than dragging it back and forth every time we needed it. For, I don't know how many years, we were up at the fairgrounds twice a week doing, for the kids to ride and stuff, so then it was a real pain to drag it back and forth, that's how it started. But then I had a whole another set of things at home, so it didn't matter, I just left it up there. I didn't know that there was a problem, no one had ever said anything, so we just left the stuff in there. So, I mean, it's all news to us too, we didn't know that nobody had ever said anything, so.
And maintenance has been scrounging for space, that's why they cut the locks, cause they didn't think anybody ever used that building. And, so then they saw what was in there, questioned it, and that's how we came to where we are today. So the easiest thing is to, if Pony Club would just let the county own this stuff, then I would check out a key to whoever needed to, you know, it's just like on that equipment form, I put all that stuff on there. So then it's not sole use by one group, you know, but maintenance would.
Then it could stay right there, cause anybody
Yeah.
can use it.
Right.
But maintenance would really like half of it. So right now, the south end just had that camping stuff in there.
Right.
Would you be able to consolidate some of the stuff or get rid of some of the stuff?
Oh, for sure, I mean, that one side, there was no one else using the building, so we just put wood in it and all the camping things, and that way it was dry wood, we didn't have to haul that up there when we had things, we had wood for the campfires, and
Yeah,
it was just convenience because
Yeah.
it was there.
but some of the stuff you probably would want to be
Well,
just your
right.
own, like those nice coffee pots, cash register,
Our
the airhead.
Nesco, yeah, there's a lot of things on the other side, and we did, which it wasn't in there when they looked in there, but when we actually have our shows and stuff, we put all of our trophies and our ribbons and all of our, concession stand bowls and cups and all of that, so I mean, that side was actually filled when we were having the shows and stuff, cause that's where we put it all, was in there, but, we didn't do that the last couple of years, I mean, we did have the show, but we didn't need all that space for all that stuff, so. The jumps and stuff are still in there, the jumps themselves, the jump standards have never fit in that building, cause there's too many of them, so we just leave them sit along that fence on the outside of there. And then there's, I think, a couple more standards outside, I did finally get all the poles, I think, are in the building. Otherwise, there was a whole set of maybe 20 that sat outside also, besides the ones that were in the building. So there was a lot more stuff up there before than what there is now. But
So
we
would you
don't
be
really have an
agreeable?
issue with, I mean, like I said, the 4-H's always used the stuff, they didn't even know that it wasn't theirs. They thought it was their stuff, they've used it for so long that as it changes leadership, they didn't even know that it wasn't theirs.
So would you be agreeable, kind of what Charmaine said, let the county take possession of it, and then you guys can use it, whoever fills out the user agreement form, and then it's kinda sounds like what's already been happening, is
Right,
everybody's
that's
using it.
already what was happening, so, I mean, we have no issue with that, I mean, we've never minded with other people using our stuff, it wasn't like we were trying to keep people out of the building. We just had the key and nobody ever said anything about it, and
Yeah,
That's the easiest option.
yeah, it is, and, you know more, I guess, than I do about what you're talking about, what maintenance wants to use or whatever.
Yep, I mean, when they saw the above ground fire pit and the marshmallow sticks and all that, that is one of the only areas you can have a fire in that north camping, so they probably keep it similar to what they do. Otherwise, I don't know what else they might store in there, but they're desperately seeking more storage, so they just thought, hey, this building doesn't get used, you know, maybe we can use that. So if she can, you know, consolidate, and then at the beginning of the summer, the horse project comes and get keys, so then I would check that out, but I've never checked a key out for that building. So then if somebody says, wow, that's a pony club, no, it's not, everything's owned by the county. If you wanna rent it, fill out agreement, you know.
Robin, do you need to talk to anybody else before you make this decision?
I don't think so, everybody, I mean, it's a pain to drag all that stuff up there, none of us like doing it, I mean, it's heavy and it's a lot of stuff, and, I mean, it's just been there for years, literally, I don't think that they're gonna mind to just continue to leave it there. Nobody has any issue with sharing anything.
Is there any personal stuff you wanna get out before it kinda becomes?
I'd have to go up there and look, but I don't, even the marshmallow sticks and stuff, I mean, all that was for camping up there. I mean, it really doesn't matter if other people use it as long as they don't ruin it. I
It's
mean,
put away or whatever.
So,
Yeah.
so our next meeting's the December sixth, do you think you could have, by then, just kinda go through, have all your stuff out, and then say December sixth, it'll be county property, everything,
Sure.
community property?
yeah.
Thank you.
And I guess between now and then, I'll talk to Rich and see that everything's kosher that way, and
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna have an issue, but I'll just check and make sure. I mean, we
Okay.
just had a meeting, a pony club meeting, and I told them that I was coming, and they said, well, you know, try to work something out. I mean, we've always been very proud to support the county, that's why we have our shows and stuff up there. I have enough room between my 2 horse farms that I could have the shows at my farm, but we feel that's a neutral place, you know, to go. And it brings revenue to our county and to the fairgrounds for the camping and stuff. And we've always been very proud to support that, so we wanted to work something out. We didn't
Okay.
want to just cut ties, and even though I could do it all, you know, I have camping spots and stuff at both of my farms for people to plug in and to have the horse shows there and stuff, but we just never wanted to do that, so. Even though sometimes it'd be easier, but.
So we just got done talking about fairgrounds project improvements, so if the pony club would like to get on board with some of the improvements out there, you know, cause, you know, horse project uses pony club stuff, but pony club uses horse project stuff, you know, the whole building and the timers, all of that. So, when we invited people, we invited not just 4-H people,
Right,
we invited
right.
everybody else, so,
And I did get the invite to go to that, and I just couldn't get out of the barn in time to
Yep,
make it,
so there'll probably be several more opportunities, but yeah, don't feel, you know, a lot of people think, well, it's a 4-H fair, it's not, it's a variety pack.
well, let's plan on letting you come back in December, Robin,
Okay,
and you talk to your bunch, I'll talk to Rich.
sure,
And then, as Jonathan stated, anything that is outright personal,
yeah,
if you could take that home, and
sure,
then we'll go from there when we get some, how Rich wants to handle it, or if he's got any direction.
sure. Okay,
Thank
sounds
you.
good.
Work for you?
Thank you,
Thanks for coming in.
yeah.
Thank
Do you wanna do your little report, next month then too, we can
Oh, yeah,
get all
I
that
usually,
done?
the kids always did a presentation every year for what the pony club did, and, when COVID hit, I didn't do it for the last, I think, at least 2 years, I didn't do it, so the kids actually put a PowerPoint presentation and stuff together again to do it for this year, but normally we would do it like in January or February, but we can for sure do it next month.
Well, if you're coming,
Yeah, you're gonna be here anyhow, so.
Yeah, is it usually like the same time, like 4 o'clock or whatever?
probably not as late though.
Well. Okay, just send me a thing so I don't forget. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Robin. Fair board report, current year budget.
We had our meeting on October 22nd, our last meeting. The fair theme has been chosen for next year. We put out a poll on Facebook, so the fair theme is Barn in the USA. Hopefully much easier for decorating.
I like that one. That one's got a nice ring.
Yeah. Let's see, last meeting, it was pushed from this committee to property, to see if they would consider paying for that compressor in the dairy barn. In the bill that we had, they said no, they decided the fair needed to pay for it. Letting you know, fair did pay, because Charmaine did that part, but then dairy committee did come through and is reimbursing the fair, which Charmaine does have that check now. We received a bill for the actual compressor, which will go to fair board, and
It's actually up on the screen now. I figured since it was on the agenda, well, it was, used to be. we're gonna have the same issue with this one. We don't have to take this one to property because of the dollar amount, but I'm sure the results are probably gonna be the same, you know, Fair will pay for it and maybe Gary will contribute.
Is that the last of the bill?
That's the compressor itself.
Yeah,
So what,
so this is completes it.
So the other 19 was the labor.
yeah, the other 1900
Is that free?
Free is the labor, free on.
Everything but the part.
Well, there's part, there's all the certain points on it. And then we formed a couple of subcommittees, to work on our sponsor form and fair rules, fair book, that type of thing. We'll be, moving forward with sending other sponsored letters in December and get that going. Don't have any contracts out there this time, nothing we went through, so, we're not meeting in November.
Approval of Carla Cole to the Rusk County Fair Board. Do you wanna speak or just wanna speak about Carla?
She was a volunteer, at this year's fair and, she would be a great addition. She actually came on Monday night. Yeah, she's a go-getter, and what's nice is, we'll probably get her husband to help too.
Yeah, that's true. Do for one deal, huh? Two for.
One's official, but one will come and help.
Is there?
I'll make a motion to approve Carla Cole to the Rusk County Fair Board.
I second that.
Motion's made, seconded by Kevin Kudo. Further questions? None being heard. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carla Cole is appointed.
For those of you that don't know them, they own the funeral home, they own their funeral home here in Newburgh. Great people, I know.
It's not the fair board.
Is it a 3-year or 2-year term? This was a new spot, she wasn't replacing her.
Yeah, right.
So, but I still need to know if it's.
It'd be a 3.
Let's do 3 then.
Very good question.
Those are my
Okay,
motions.
Shayna Swanson, reimbursement of stainless steel work tables.
Okay, so since the fair can't really spend money without, your approval, this is going to this committee and then it'll also go to, finance. But she bought, 2 stainless steel tables, cause we were revamping the chuck wagon. We had the mobile transient license for food. We were fully expecting to be, inspected, but we weren't. But anyway, we were ready for it. So all of our tables, everything was stainless steel. But she bought them for this. So the fair board, made a motion to reimburse her for it. We're not reimbursing tax or anything. They're down there, they're county property, but, you know, she's like, well, if it's gonna be county property, you know, I'd like reimbursed for it, or I'll just take them back. We need them, so we have money in the budget. Here's the minutes right there to reimburse her, so it's just a formality, taking it from committee to committee.
How much were they?
$403.98.
For 2?
2, yeah. So really, that's not bad for stainless steel, and they're very nice. They're heavy duty, and we thoroughly used them up there.
Who would entertain a motion?
So move. Second.
Motion is made to reimburse or to allow the fair to reimburse, I guess. Seconded by John Caleb. Is there any further questions? None being heard, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Out of county travel,
Yes, the Wisconsin Association of Fairs, 8 board members, are heading down, so the cost of that would be $400. And then, hotel, we're not really sure, cause this is in January, so some of the fair board members said, yes, I'm gonna go, but possibly won't need a hotel. But we're looking at 3, hotel rooms, and then one of them will have 3, so it'll be $20 extra, but we may have the other 2, so if you could, approve at least $800, not to exceed that, we're not requesting mileage reimbursement or anything, but, well, actually, no, this is only for 1 night, so that would be for 2 nights, so $1,200, not to exceed $1,200, all out of the fair budget. So $400 for registration, we got in at the early bird, and then 2 nights of hotel.
Questions? What's that?
Where's it at?
Wisconsin Dells, it'll be at Chula Vista.
What's it else?
John should put everybody up.
Come and sleep in my house anytime you want. I'll tell you where the key is. You're gonna be this weekend. I'll make a motion.
Motion's made, is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Ottershoots. Is there any further questions or comments on the motion on the floor? None being heard, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Double stack back here. Remember the ones you want to sign.
What? I can't make it. I gotta go see Santa Claus.
Why, I thought you were on the naughty list.
Oh.
No, one's enough.
I got all kinds, here, you need some? Look, I got all kinds. I've been keeping them for all the years. Take what you need, take them all, I don't care.
Good night, everybody.
See you later, Sharon.
Night, Shine.
Lynn and I already had one.
What are they selling? They're selling.
signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.